Welcome to the Expert Speaker Podcast. We are here with top paid speaker himself, Marshal Gillen. Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, brother. The Expert Speakers Podcast. I've been watching on TikTok for a long time, so it's truly an honor to be able to share the space with you, bro.
Yeah, it's great. And I think we share a lot of philosophies, including plain black t-shirt.
Yes,
Keep it real.
being 39 years old, things like
Yeah.
this.
And you are now streaming from your phone.
Yes.
You got the wireless headset, you got the posters in the background, and this is your stage.
Dude, it's the simplest stage. It's like literally, I had never have anything to hide. These headphones I got from Walmart for like 15 bucks. And I think my light setups maybe cost me $65 with my ring light and stand and these. And then I got these on Vistaprint for like 80 bucks, 100 bucks or something. I'm just trying to tell people, listen, you have a phone in your hand, which is a virtual stage these days. This is a digital stage, and you can literally build a platform on it. And if you know how to talk and speak in a persuasive way and create influence and inspire people into action, you can get paid to speak.
Yeah, get paid to speak, top paid speaker. I mentioned to you before we recorded here that I was in the beginning of my speaking career really focused on getting a big check, like a keynote fee. And I found out that actually the people who are making the big money don't even worry about the check to get onto the stage because they've got something much better. So how did you come to that conclusion yourself?
First off, I just want to highlight that real quick and then I'll answer your question.
Yeah.
People are most speakers are sleeping on this. When people from the outside my ecosystem ask me, oh, how much is your speaker fee? I tell them I speak for free. And they're like, why? And I said, because if it's an event that I actually want to speak at, and I have an opportunity to get on stage in front of a great audience, how many people are going to beat me at free if I'm actually good at what I do? I'm going to win the job. And I know that if you get me on stage, because of the way that my ecosystem is built up online and the way that I storytell and the way that I engage the audience, I know I'm going to make exponentially more money. So that's a whole tangent, different thing. We can talk about that later. But that's why I was like, dude, my hook is like, speaker fees make you broke. And this is why. This is how your speaker fees keep you broke. But the way that I found that out, dude, is that in 2016, I wanted to become a paid speaker. And so I started, I joined coaching programs and I bought courses and I was going to weekend conferences and I was trying to figure out how you get paid to speak. And so finally I met this guy named James Melanchek, big money speaker. And he taught me the difference between fee-paid speaking and platform speaking. I was like, platform speaking's dumb. My ego's like, I want to speak on stage. I'm going somewhere else. So for the next 6 months, I didn't listen to anything that James taught me. And I tried my hardest to book stages. Here's the problem, everybody. I was just building my personal brand online. So even though I was making six figures online and I had credit, nobody would book me. Nobody knew who I was. And nobody ever seen me speak other than social media. And in 2016 and 17, that's not what was hot on the streets. You weren't credible if you were speaking on social media. It wasn't considered anything. And so I was like, well, this is dumb. And so I'm in San Diego and I'm trying to figure out, well, how can I find stages? And that's when I discovered meetups. Now, this is super important, guys. This is so simple. You guys, this is so simple. If you have an offer to sell, it's so simple. So I wanted to sell my offer, which is personal branding workshops, personal branding coaching, 90-day consulting offer I had. And so I finally started booking these free meetups in San Diego. And I had a whole strategy to do that. It was like a 35-day strategy. So it took a long time, but it worked. And I would get these opportunities to speak at these meetups. And what I noticed, brother, is that every time I spoke at these meetups, I would live stream it back to my social media profile, which I had already built. And so now the people online are watching me and they're going, dude, you're speaking like in real life, right? Okay, now never mind that the meetup only had 17 people at it, because the 7,000 people that I can put ad spend behind on my page that I boosted to every time I'm doing this, which is multiple times a week because I lived in San Diego where there's 7 events, 7 days a week. And so I'm speaking on these stages and these meetups. And I notice that every time I do that, I make more money because I sell stuff online. And I'm like, So I'm still trying to book stages. It's impossible. I'm like, this is dumb. I'm looking, and no offense to fee-paid speakers, to each their own. I'm like, this is dumb. The amount of time I trying to research events, find the event organizer, hitting them up on LinkedIn, sending them the email, getting them on the phone, like all the things. I was like, I could literally just sell my own thing. So all of this to say, eventually I stopped selling in 2017, I stopped selling my personal branding offer with phone calls. There was this girl online I was watching, and she was a personal branding expert. I thought that's what I thought at the time. I was like, oh, I'm the expert. But she would host these stupid 2 hour workshops every month for $33. Her name is Des, and I can't even pronounce her last name. She's from, I don't even, Slovakia, or I don't know. Now just my brain was spinning. So I'm watching this girl do these $33 2 hour workshops, and she's talking online about making six figures. And I'm like, how are you making six figures with these $33 workshops? You are lying. I'm thinking, you're lying. You are lying. So I finally buy one, and you already know what happens at the end of the 2 hour workshop. She sold a 6K offer. And so, long story longer, here I am. I'm trying to book stages. I spent all the money, I went to all the training. I realize I hate fee paid speaking. I'm understanding the power of speaking for free. And I'm starting to understand the power of stages. Except again, the problem was the variable was other people. The variable was me getting a stage, a meetup stage. The variable was all these things. So here I am online. I'm watching this girl who just taught me how to sell one to many with these digital workshops she was doing. And then I'm offline over here, and I'm like, oh, snap. Like when I do these meetups, when I speak at these meetups, all these people who are offline locally find me, and then they come here. And when I'm online and I'm doing all these things, the people that watch me, my offline stuff, they're like, oh, this guy must be the expert, and they come here. And so that's how I figured this out. I was like, wait a second. I was like, I should stop going to other people's meetups, and I should just start hosting my own meetup. I'm like, that's what I'll do. I'll start hosting my own meetup. And so once a month, I started hosting that, and I teach this strategy. It's called the $1 Million Meetup Strategy, and I hosted monthly free meetup, and I made it cause based. So my mentor Cole Hatter taught me how to make money matter. He says if we're entrepreneurs, we have a superhuman ability to be able to make money. So if I need $1 million to live my dream life, how can I go out and make $2 million, give $1 million away, and keep $1 million for myself? And so with that in mind, I would host a local meetup. I would raise money for a local charity that meant something to me. And the big fish standing around in the back of the room would be watching me do this with events in the community I'm building. They'd be like, damn, how are you doing that? And so they would want to hire me for consulting. Meanwhile, the people in the audience are like, oh, this is sick. Like, teach me how to do this. And they would buy the low ticket offer. So every time I spoke, though, this is the most important part. Every time I spoke, no matter if it was at a meetup, when I was doing guest speaking, I'm always live streaming back to my audience. And the only thing that you can do is join my next virtual event. So no sales calls, nothing. For years, that's all it was. It's like the only thing you can buy from me online, if I don't know you, is my $33 workshop. Every month I'd teach a new skill to speakers, and they would come in, and then they would buy the $15,000 offer. And I converted like that for years. And then I started hosting offline events because I wanted to give it a shot. You call Kevin Nations. We were talking about it earlier. I learned it from, I don't know if it was Andrew Cruzy or if it was Alex Moscow, but they call them small events, big profits. Same concept. And I was like, this guy was telling me he made like 125 grand with like six people in a room in a house in La Jolla. This is like back in 2017. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense to me. It doesn't compute. I didn't understand. Now I know. And so again, that's how this whole thing happened. And once I realized I could make money from my phone without booking stages as a professional speaker, which literally some people, I literally have like people who have followed me around the internet at this point for years, calling me a liar and trying to call me out because they're like, you've never been paid to speak, but you say you're the top paid speaker. I'm like, yeah. And then I tell them how, and it breaks their mind. And so it upsets people sometimes when I tell them I'm a professional speaker, but that's how the whole system works.
Well, yeah, I know the lifestyle of the traveling speaker with you pack your suitcase, you get home, you take your suits to the dry cleaner, you book your next flight, you're on a flight the next day, maybe you kiss your babies between speeches. And I remember waking up on many occasions in like not even knowing what city am I, what is this, a
Bro,
holiday? You step
yes,
outside and like, especially like the corporate gigs where I'm kind of in like the suburbs. I'm not even in the cool city,
no.
like Washington, D.C. Like I thought I'm in like the city, but no, I'm out in like Reston, Virginia at some like corporate park. And I'm like, actually, the shift for me was when I had my babies. Um,
Mm,
I was like, well, this is not winning, leaving the kids and being in
no.
Reston, Virginia. No hate on Reston. But yeah, that's when I discovered webinars and online events. Marshall, take me back even before all that. What inspired you to start speaking?
Mm, that's a good question. For anybody that's coming to listen to this at a later time, or maybe you guys are watching this on Facebook Live, which by the way, if you guys are watching this, give them a like, give them a love. Like, how about this show? Round of applause for our boy here. Okay, so how I got here, I just want to say it's a little bit of a trigger warning because I am going to talk about attempted suicide. But I grew up on a farm in Illinois. My dad was a severe alcoholic, so he left me and my mom when I was 2. And I didn't see him for many, many years. My mother was remarried when I was 4. We ended up moving out to a farm with my stepfather, and he was like is a raging narcissist. I didn't know anything about that back then. And from the age of 5 until I was, well, still to this day at 39, I mean, but growing up with this man, he would tell me the most awful things about me, how worthless I am, and how I'm going to grow up to be good for nothing. I'm so stupid because I can't figure anything out, and you're going to be a worthless Mexican like your dad. I mean, crazy stuff you don't like say to little kids. And so that's how I grew up. I would go to school. I would excel at everything, homecoming king, team captain, stand out in the community, straight A student, all the things. But then I would go home and it'd be like, you're a worthless piece of crap. You can't do nothing right. And so I started to be like, what is wrong with me? I'm like, the more success I have, the doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much success I have. I can't, the people I want to love me, my dad, who never shows up, never called, is never around, won't show up, doesn't matter what I do. And my stepdad can't stand me. I'm like, okay, great. So, anyways, that turns into addiction. I ended up getting a full academic ride to college and I dropped out within the first like month. My mom was like beside herself. So now I'm spinning out of control. I'm 19. I'm heavy into cocaine use. I'm heavy into boozing. I'm starting to sell drugs. I'm starting to do all kinds of crazy things and running with people I shouldn't be doing, shouldn't be around. We're doing bad stuff. And finally, I was in San Diego. I was 23 years old and I just reached the end of my rope, dude. I went and took 53 half bars of Xanax, an 8 ball of cocaine, and a fifth of vodka in about 20 minutes. I wanted to not be here anymore. It was an attempt on my life. And so as I started to fade away, this is crazy to sound like, but I was filled with this immediate like regret. Like I was like, what did I do? And so I run into the bathroom, I'm trying to purge and I can't, nothing's coming up. And so I'm like, I'm freaking out, bro. I'm bawling. I'm so scared. I'm 23-year-old kid. I'm 2,100 miles away from home in an apartment that has absolutely nothing in it because I'm a severe drug addict. And so I call my mom, and it breaks my heart now to be this old, to old and think about this. But I call my mom and I tell her, hey, I'm what I did. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, mom. I'm fading away. And she's screaming on the phone, Marshall, wake up, wake up. Okay, so that's what happened to me. I wake up in the hospital in La Jolla the next morning all by myself. And the first thing I think is, oh my God, thank God I'm alive. Immediately followed by, you're so worthless, you can't even kill yourself. And
Damn.
so what happened? Yeah. And so what happened is that nobody knew what I did, and I didn't want anybody to ever know. And so I didn't want to die anymore. I didn't want to kill myself anymore, but I lived very fast and very reckless because I was just hoping that something would get me. Along the way, I met a really good friend, and he's about 4 years younger than me. And he's from my same hometown, but I met him out in San Diego. And we started to really connect and build this friendship. And it was crazy, dude, because we'd have these conversations at night. We're partying and stuff, but he was saying things to me that like men don't say to each other. And I mean in a way of like vulnerability. Oh, I'm struggling with this. Oh, I've been feeling this. He would cry, he'd be crying. And I grew up on a farm. I'm thinking like, bro, and I say that because this is where I actually ended up learning vulnerability from, and I didn't even know it. And so me and this kid become really good friends. His name's Dustin. And over the years, we end up separating. He gets married and has kids and yada, yada. And so 2014, he was really struggling. He had been calling me for a couple months, every once a month or so, crying and losing stuff. And I'm like, bro, I don't know how to help you. I was in the mess myself. And so finally, he called me in January 2014, and I saw his call, and I'm like, not tonight. And I ended it. And the voicemail, I'm listening to him, and he's like, hey, yo, bro, it's Dustin. He's crying. He's like, I really need to talk to you. He's like, hit me back as soon as you can. All right, late. And I'm like, okay, I can't tonight, but I promise I'll call him tomorrow. And then tomorrow turned into, I promise I'll call him this weekend. Like, and I was like, okay, on Monday night when I get home from work, I'll definitely call him. And then, a couple days turned into a month, and I get a call from his sister at 4:30 in the morning, and Dustin took his life. And so for me, um, that was the moment. Again, to each their own. You can believe whatever you want. I'm not telling anybody what to believe. I believe in God. This is the God of my spirituality. I didn't know it then, but that was the first time that I felt this higher purpose in my life. That was like, if you had just told Dustin what you had been through, you selfish, carless mofo, like if you had just told him, you knew what he was struggling with, like you knew all the signs for the longest time. And you knew that you should have opened up and said something. And this man was telling you everything. You never did anything. You sat there like a coward as your friend died, right? And so that's what I felt for a very long time. And so along like it's funny how these things work out because at the time when that happened, I didn't know. I was 29. I didn't know what an entrepreneur was. I did not know what mentorship was. I did not know what personal development was. Like I didn't know what any of that stuff meant. I came from a farm in Illinois. I moved to San Diego. I bartended, smoked pot, and did drugs. I didn't know nothing about nothing. So here I am. I'm like, I got to tell somebody this story. I don't even know who to tell. And that's when I started to discover the online world. Meanwhile, I'm bartending downtown San Diego,
Sorry, you just started
2014.
to discover what?
That's when I discovered selling online,
Oh,
selling,
selling
selling on,
online.
selling
Yes.
online. Yeah, because you and I were talking offline before this, but my friend had just passed away. I had wanted to start launching an online business, and I had just become a personal trainer. And so I actually accidentally discovered online business because I sucked so bad at selling my personal training. I was trying to research online how to get better at selling personal training. And at the time, there was a new app that had basically just come out called Instagram. And so I'm on Instagram and I'm trying to figure out how to sell my services. But everybody's page I keep finding is people selling online coaching. Again, dude, in 2014, online coaching was like a hard sell. People are like, online coaching doesn't even make sense. And so I took my idea and I performance blocks 360 and I built it into a course. I saw this guy online named Mike Chang, and Mike Chang was ripped. I mean, he was jacked, but the only thing he ever talked about was doing uh, ab exercises in your house. I'm like, bro, I'm a personal trainer. I know you're doing more than that. You're lying. But what I didn't know at the time, dude, is that the only reason I could find six pack shortcuts online about Mike Chang is because he had built these sales funnels. They were all sales pages. And no, I'd never even seen anything like that. I didn't even know what that was. I would like, I land on no matter where I went on the internet to find Mike Chang, I could always take me back to this one stupid page about get six pack at home. And I'm like, I know you're lying. Tell me how to look like you. And so that's when I discovered selling online. So now all these things are working. You know, I have this background. I tried to take my life. I lose Dustin. I should have said something to him. I'm bartending downtown. And this is so silly to say now, right? I was going to be 30 and I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be so old. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with my life. And so I'm doing all these things. I'm learning about launching my personal training business. I'm doing the online personal training business. And then about 2 or 3 months after Dustin passes away, this guy walks into my bar downtown San Diego one night, middle-aged guy, white dude, nobody in particular you'd notice, drinking a Bud Light, quiet. He's watching me bebop and do my thing. And I was a bartender for 15 years. And I was, when people would tell me, they're like, you're such a great bartender. I'm like, I'm really more of a game show host. And I will write a book someday
Ah,
that says, I will write a book someday that says everything I learned about business, I learned from bartending because it's 100% true. And so my wheels are starting to turn at this point, anyways. I'm thinking, I got to get out of here. I got to figure out how to get my skills outside of this building. And then this guy walks in this one night and he's watching me do my thing. And he says, hey, yo, you should be a motivational speaker. And I was like, not in the mood. Like I was not in the mood that night. It was like a Monday. And I'm like looking at my computer screen. He's behind me. I'm thinking, oh, I do not want to play this game with you. Okay. And so I turned around. I'm like, yo, yeah, bro. I'm like, what do you do? He's like, I'm a motivational speaker. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, God checked me. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh. And that was
yeah.
the first time that I was like, oh my God, like I wonder if I could be a motivational speaker. But you know what I did for the next 3 years? Absolutely nothing about it. So that's kind of how that went.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Wow. So you had some amazing life experiences. You felt like you discovered your purpose through the loss of Dustin. Um, then you started speaking, started streaming online, and you figured it out. And so, I really appreciate the lifestyle piece. I think every business is a lifestyle business, either
Yeah.
good lifestyle or bad lifestyle. And my reason to get into business is to fund my travel addiction. I love travel. And one of my favorite experiences was walking the Camino de Santiago for a
Where's
month.
that?
That's in Spain. So you
That's
walk
dope.
walk all day, every day for a month, 500 miles. But I also had a coaching business. And not only did I continue to run my coaching business, I also did podcast interviews, and I even launched and sold a product that didn't exist before I had the idea, all
Okay.
from my phone. And it blew my mind open to, like, I came home wondering, do I need a laptop really? Do I even need lights? You
Yeah,
know? And so I just want to shout you out for that, showing up here, streaming on the phone, and being an example of, the gear doesn't matter nearly as much. And I'll
100%.
tell you, like, I spent so much time at the beginning of my career studying microphones and
Yep.
studying lights, being like, which
Yep.
light do I get? Which
Then
mic?
why, and then how do I set them up? Like, and what do I put it in the back of the room? Or it's like all these things.
Yeah. Um, so what
Well,
are
I
the,
mean, so let me.
go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, just to all the viewers that do end up watching this, whether live on replay, let's just highlight that for 1 second, because you asked me that before we got on. Are you on your phone? Like, I have a laptop and I use it every day, but I use it for like edit, like uploading videos or like things like this, like YouTube videos. Um, if I have to build something, like I mean, honestly, you know what? I'm just thinking as I'm saying this out loud right now. Since I canceled ClickFunnels like 4 or 5 months ago, I haven't really been on my laptop at all. I do all my Zoom calls for my group coaching from my phone. I mean, sometimes like I have to do something in my Stripe account that I can't do through my app, so I have to like log onto a computer, something like that. Sometimes there's something in school group, but no, like my whole thing is from my phone. And so the reason that, and I want to go even deeper on this, I've had the opportunities now to go do things like Go High Level or use other software. And for me and my brand, Top Paid Speaker, Go High Level is like, it makes so much sense. Like I can white label the exact thing that my client needs and make a killing on affiliates, everybody that comes into my program. However, again, like you and I were talking offline, you said, well, do all of your speakers want to do this? I said, no, some of them want fancy cameras and great setups and they want to be on stage. And I tell them to optimize for lifestyle. Marshall Gillen's lifestyle was optimized by being able to make money from my phone. That's what I always wanted to do. I wanted to help people travel the world and make money from my phone. And so I'm saying to other people, if you even go, like if you go to any of my pages and you click on my link, bro, it doesn't go to a funnel. You know where it goes to? A free link tree page. The link tree is just set up like a funnel. It's just a video with a headline and a button. And so I specifically keep my stuff this way on purpose, even as I grow, because I never want to get further away from who I really was in the beginning, because I always want to be relatable enough to let everybody know that if you are beginning, you have no idea what you're doing. I'm still proving to you that it works this way. If you want to use my system and you want to do ad spend and all the things, and great, go do that. And I will help you. And I have the people and we've done it. We have the results, the testimonies, but it's always been most important that I had freedom. And so that's the crux of what I teach people and what you're saying. And I just wanted to go kind of hit that for a second, because you don't need anything besides mastery of your primary skill. If you understand how to master your primary skill, and then you understand how to tell a story to the old version of yourself, you don't need anything else to sell high ticket offers, low ticket offers besides a cell phone and social media. That is it. Nothing else. And that's I'm just passionate about it, because I when I started this thing, there's actually a video of me in 2017 when I had this breaking point. I was doing my agency, which I told you about, and I just scaled it to 17K a month and like pretty fast, like I don't know, 40 days or something, except I didn't understand that I had to fulfill all of that because I was brand new to business, because I learned it from a Ty Lopez course. But Ty taught me everything I knew about business. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here today. But I'm in this consult in San Diego, dude, and I'm getting ready. I'm trying to sell this other customer, and I'm like, I must have the 1,000 yard stare. I'm looking right through her. I'm listening to Gary Vee, and he's talking about building a personal brand and this and that, and going for your dreams. And I think in the middle of it, I finally was just like, you know what, Michaela, like it's not. I can't do this, you know. And she was kind of like, what? And I walk out and I pull out my phone, and the video's still out there today. I go live, and I was like, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Marshall. This is my journey to becoming a highly paid public speaker. I might fall flat on my face. I don't think I will, but I'm going to invite you to join me on the journey as I go from nothing to something, from broke to paid, using nothing more than my story in social media. And this is going to be the journey along the way. This is for the 17-year-old version of me. But more importantly, this is the part I'm getting to. More importantly, this is to take away every single excuse you have for not changing your life. And that was what the crux of Top Paid Speaker was built on in 2017, and using your message. And and I know I'm longer this week can stop, but that's why it's so important for people to realize that you don't need anything fancy. I have phone, free social media, free Linktree accounts, and now at this point, the only software I pay for is my autoresponder and which I'm not even using one right now. I have a list, but using my a school, right?
So you're not using Go High Level.
No, no, I have people in my group, in my community, that do use it and that will onboard people that want it. And I let them take care of it. They can have commission fees. That have people that do ClickFunnels. If people want to go ClickFunnels, I have all of my ClickFunnels that people can just swipe all of my files if they are ClickFunnels user. It's like here, I've been using it since it came out in 2016.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. But again, part of the other thing that you and I talked about, and this is all the service providers out there, we were talking about making a year-long high ticket program. And I was telling you that my community is high ticket, and I'm very blessed that most people don't ever leave. They stay throughout the term that they want, that they're there. And I have clients that have been with me for going on 3 years now. And so the reason that is, though, is because I've stayed so relatable. Yeah, as I've grown, as I've made money, I've stayed as relatable as possible. But more than that, I try to set my clients up for as much success as possible. And I know that we all do that. But what I mean is there's no reason for me to go high level just for the sake of doing it because it looks sexy and then I can get the affiliate link and then I can make money. It makes more sense to me if I can invite high level experts into my business, and then, hell, you're the expert. Here, take that. Because that incentivizes them to stay even longer, because they know that Marshall's not here for himself. I'm going to show up every single day in every single way I can to make money for you. When I was the general manager of a bar, I sat my employees down one by one and I said, tell me what I need to do to help you make as much money as possible. I am here to help you make as much money as possible, because if you make as much money as possible, then the business will make as much money as possible. And I've taken that same philosophy and applied it to my speakers. And so for me, that's why it's been so important that I stick to true. And dude, it's tough, right? Because you see these money grabs that would be super easy things to do, but I have to stay true to my nature. And then the community has benefits from it because they get value and actually make money then, because I'm not the dude. It's not the Marshall Gillen show, I'm just the leader. And I play aloof. My character does better when he's playing aloof. He sells more. But I'm like, I'm just the dummy that's running this. Like, I really don't know much about anything, but I'm really good at getting paid to speak. So if you want to learn how to do that, I'm good. If you want to learn how to book stages and do that, probably go see somebody else.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's say you're having a virtual event.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fill it?
Go, dude, you steal up people's audiences. So I invite you. I invite you to guest speak. Okay, so let's do it tomorrow at the time of shooting this right now. At whatever day this is, July 11th. Tomorrow I have a virtual summit. It's called the Speaker Revolution Summit. I got 4 people with really big audiences that have all made millions of dollars hosting virtual events. They're not speaking coaches or anything like that, but they use the exact same model that I use, one to many. Now, to everybody listening, this is the number one sales thing. It's not about training my people what I know in the beginning, and I know you know this. In the beginning, it's about getting them to believe what I believe. I have to get them to adopt my way of thinking so my system will work for them. And so I say that to say this is how the whole thing works, to answer your question. I know the 3 biggest things that I teach. Like, I'll just tell you guys my 3 things, and I learned them from Russell Brunson. Like how to sell without selling. You overcome the 3 main objections that people are having, right? Vehicle objection, internal objection, external objection. So let's talk vehicle objection as number 1. People don't believe you can get rich speaking for free. Okay, so day 1 of my 3-day virtual event is day 1, how to get rich speaking for free. How do you do that? And then I teach them a story about speaking for pay, and I teach them how to get rich speaking for free. And then the guest speaker that comes on in the second hour is somebody that reinforces what I just taught. So as example, for tomorrow, we're doing something a little bit different. It's just a 90-minute summit for guest speakers. And I'm just going to be interviewing them about why they sell one to many, what it's meant to become the leader in their industry, how they feel getting to share their story to empower people and change lives. And everybody that's at the virtual summit is going to go, oh, damn, I want to do that. And then they go to the offer. And so the way that I feel that is because all those guys have audiences. I'm just tagging them and making content about them, putting them on. Oh, Twan is awesome because he is awesome. Twan's awesome. Have you ever learned from a felon to blah blah blah? He used to be in different high ticket sales. I'm just telling stories about cool people. And so that's what I tell people. I'm like, you don't even need to be the leader of what you're. I mean, you don't even need to be the expert of what you're building. I don't consider myself the expert, top paid speaker. I'm just the dummy that built this community for badass experts like you to come join us so we can figure out how we can save lives and get people to stop killing themselves. And people are like, damn, I kind of want some of that. And I'm like, all right, well, let's do it. Let's go. And so that for me has worked. And that's how I build it.
So yeah, so you're running an event tomorrow. You invited me to speak. Thank you. I'm actually running my retreat tomorrow, so I'm not
Yeah,
able
you
to.
told me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that a one day?
Yes. So marketers test, 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 right?
Yeah.
And so I've done this a million different ways. The 3 day thing, the virtual event, it hits the hardest. So the way that it works now is that 3 day workshop is going to be implemented inside of my academy, which is my low ticket offer. So I'm not going to do, I'm not, and I don't mean this in a dickhead way. Oh, I don't know how to say that. I don't mean this in a bad way. Is that I don't want to waste time with tire kickers, right? And so I'm not going to waste 3 days to try to hope I can get you into the next thing. I've done that and it converts well, but in this climate, it's not working the same. I also have tested against paid versus free. I am finding that with the way that my model works, because I don't need that many clients a month. My model is monthly recurring revenue. So as my things stack, as you know, I just keep making more money. And so it's not about going viral or being famous for me. I just want to find the few right people in my audience every month. So I say all that to tell people, tell you, I'm testing against a 1 day workshop. I was selling it for $10, and this one is free. But actually, I think next month I'm going to do it again, but I'm going to charge $10 again because the $10 thing converts better than the free thing.
Yeah.
So if I tell people to copy, thing, and I get to the bottom and go, and it's free, people don't care. But if I get to the bottom and I'm like, it's only $10, oh my God, I'm getting a deal. It's a deal. I'm getting a deal for $10. Oh my God, I'm in. And they show up. So I'm just telling you this is that I've hosted them all different kinds of times. Tomorrow's on a Friday, but I think going forward where I'm going to settle in is $10 workshops on Saturday mornings once a month. And
Got
it's
it.
going to be 2 hours long. I'll have 4 guest speakers every month, so I can use their audience. And then it'll be it'll be 2 hours long. It'll be me asking them questions for about 60 minutes, and then I'll kick them off, and then I'll have a conversation with the people that are there. I'll ask them, okay, what questions do you have? What questions do you have about everything we talked about? Now I get to be on the hot seat, and I just got these guys to prove my concept, and now I'm going to close the deal. And so
Okay.
that the next offer, yeah.
Yeah, invite me to do the next one. I'd be happy to do it.
Yeah, I'd love to have you, dude. And we'll plug you in your book and expert speakers,
Yeah,
expertspeaker.com. Go over
that's
there.
right. That's right. So what I'm hearing is you're testing different formats, you're testing different prices, and it's all forms of invitation to basically get layers closer to you and working with you,
Mm-hmm.
starting with, you told me earlier, followers, customers, and clients.
Yeah,
Customers being like the $10 and the clients
yeah,
being the big investment.
yeah,
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 got it, got it. So you get people coming to you saying, I want to have a great lifestyle. I want to monetize my expertise. And you show them how to package it into speeches, into events, into books, and how to
yeah.
generate a very good living.
I do that. That is exactly what I do. But people come to me because they want to tell their story. Because I talk about my whole motto is your message, your message. That's my whole thing. And so I'm on a mission to save a billion lives. To save a billion lives, the power of vulnerability and storytelling. And there's a whole story behind that, but it doesn't matter. And so that's my thing. So people come to me specifically because they're like, I want to share more of my real raw story. And I don't say I talk about this more closely regarded to my brand because I don't like to influence people, or I don't like to try to make my way in other people's stuff. But I specifically like to work with people I'd say are called. If you feel called, if you have a calling from God to make people's lives different, then you come see me. Like if you want to get paid to speak, that's great, and you want to do these things. But like to me, it's just so much more important because of the story between me and Dustin. And this whole thing was launched because Dustin and I were supposed to do all these things. Oh, we're going to raise our kids together, and you're going to be this famous guitar player, and I'm going to do this, and we'll live right down the streets from each other, and our wives will be best friends, and like all this stuff, you know. And I just was online last night, and some guy I don't know, 36 years old, like some influencer in the fitness space, took his life. And so specifically that is what I talk about. And so people come to me to share that. They're like, tell me how you do it. Because you already said it. You said it before we got on. You help people see their story in a different way. It's like you give them permission to accept like what they've been through actually qualifies them because your client probably has the same number one problem my client does. Is that my ideal client, the biggest problem they're having is they don't feel qualified to speak. They're already experts. They're making money and they're doing these things, but they don't feel like, well, like who are they to tell their story about attempted suicide? I'm a businessman. I'm a businesswoman. People are going to look at me different. I'm like, no, au contraire. Like you will actually make more money if you share your real life vulnerable story in a powerful way. And so that's what it's all about. How to turn your mess into a message, monetize your talent, skills, and story into a multi-million-dollar speaking business.
Mm,
Boom.
boom. Yeah, I was working with a lot of healers at one point, holistic doctors, functional medicine doctors, and one of my clients said, Majid, you're a healer. And I said, no, I'm not. I'm a speaker. I'm an expert. I'm an entrepreneur.
Mm,
I'm not a doctor. I'm not a healer.
yeah.
And she said, no, you're healing people. Aren't you seeing what's happening when
Mm,
people are finding the most beautiful way to tell their story?
mm,
And it's almost like, we can all imagine a beautiful future and you can kind of change the future in your imagination because you believe it hasn't happened
mm,
yet. But most people believe you can't change the past. But when you start to see the past in a new way and therefore tell a new story about the past, it kind of changes the past because the past really just exists in your head.
100%.
So what I'm kind of working with people on is like looking at their past and seeing all the things you can appreciate. And in some cases, what would be generally considered a tragedy,
Yep.
you can tell it in an inspiring way that helps you realize, what a gift it is.
Literally almost verbatim what I tell people from stage. I'm like,
Yeah.
this tragedy, this worst thing that could have happened to me actually became a gift. And it's become the greatest gift that I've ever been given. I'm like, I don't know why it was me versus Dustin, but now we have set out on this journey together, because it is a gift when you learn how to reframe that. So not to get all weird on people, but if people come to my events or if they're in my stuff, I'm weird anyway, so I tell them. But I'm always like, listen, y'all, like I was a shaman in many lifetimes. I've been a healer across many lifetimes. So just so you know, if you're in this here with me, you're probably a healer like I am too. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't all be together. So I'm fully right there with you, dude. And I totally believe you can change timelines. What I mean? In the present, if I can change the future, then automatically to even live into that reality, the past would have had to shift it as well. The person you are today can't become a different level of reality based on your past. And so the past has to shift if the reality of the future shifts. Like, you know what I mean? Like it tilts the balance no matter what. And so I totally believe that you can change the past. And you nailed it. It comes from a different frame of an understanding, which creates a frequency within you, which shifts reality to paradigms, right? That's why we call it, Bob Proctor called it paradigm shifting, because you're literally shift paradigms. Look at, like, before I knew what entrepreneurship was, I just drove through the world like a normal ass person. Now I can't look at anything without thinking about how it makes money. I'd be like, damn, I can make money with that. Damn, I can make money with that. Damn, I can make money with that. Because my paradigm is shifted now, and now I see things different, right? And I think that the fact of what you and I get to do as speakers, or I guess I'm a healer moonlighting as a speaker, but I think it's a gift, man, in and of itself. And there's the bad days and the business is tough sometimes, yeah, but there's also really good days and business is great some days. And I've just found that no matter how much money I have, no matter how much success I have, how famous, well known, none of it has ever mattered. And I didn't know that until recently, until you're 40 and you're like, damn, like I've been living my life about a whole bunch of dumb shit that don't matter. Wonder what it would look like if I claimed the reality I wanted to live in. And so I think more than anything, that's just what I tell people. I'm like, there's a million ways to make money online. If you don't like creating content and talking to people, you should not do what I do at all. But if you are a disruptive storyteller in the chatterbox, I'll show you how to monetize it really good. Otherwise, I'll send you to the person that does. And that's one of the things I want to mention real quick about this interview that we're doing. Like, this is what it's supposed to look like. People are like, oh, I can't have an interview with the competitor in my space. It's like, bro, like the people that are meant for you are going to find you, and the people that are meant for me are going to find me. And some people in the G's audience are going to want to put you with somebody like me and they didn't know it. And some of you that are in my audience are going to look at him and be like, damn, I love his vibe. And you know what? Like I was going to say, dot dot dot. That's okay. Like that's okay. And so that's the world I want to live in. And I bet that's the world you want to live in too. And so when you did reach out to me about this interview, I thought it was awesome, dude. I was like, that's the kind of people I want to have in my life. Those are the type of leaders that all of us should want to learn from, is people that are open to collaboration and understanding that these ideas, getting paid to speak and all this stuff I teach is not mine. Where'd it come from? I don't know where it came from, some source or something, but who am I to make flow, dam it up and stop? And so I always tell people, like, just find what optimizes your flow state and try to live in it as much as you possibly can. And this is what optimizes mine.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I'm looking forward to a long and fruitful friendship and future
Me too.
collaborations. Best of luck with your event tomorrow. And how can people find more of your work and join your communities?
Yeah, you know what, dude? I'm just like a regular dude. So I don't even have anything to sell you. Just find me on social media. It doesn't matter what platform you're on. Send me a message. Let me know you heard this. And let's be pals, man. It's supposed to be social media. So we'll just be friends.
Nice. Good. Anything that I didn't ask you that you want to share? Any final thoughts?
Man, no, just a thank you. I mean, honestly. And last thing to the audience, I want you to understand the power of social media and the mobile phone and understanding your story. Like, we're just two regular guys that learned some high income skills to pay the bills. And now we started these movements and we're changing people's lives. And then, guys like us get these silly comments or videos about people telling us how much they changed their lives or saved their lives. And I feel like, who am I? And so if you really want true meaning in your life, link up with people like Majeed and learn how to tell your story, learn how to leverage things like this and build the life that you want.
Amazing. Thank you, Marshall. I'm going to end
Got
it
it,
there.
brother. Thank you.